So now we want to write an equation of a line through these points. So there's one about, one on this practice mastery quiz about, it's an application problem that relates Celsius and Fahrenheit. And this is essentially that problem. So we're combining a couple of these with the lines. So anyway, we want to write an equation of a line through these points. So we want to do it both ways here. We want to do it in point slope form. We also want it in slope intercept form. For both of them, we do need the slope. So let's find that first. And we know how to find slope, right? Change in y over change in x. So we have change in y over change in x. And to do this, we're just, we can just choose which one to call what. So let's call this one x1, y1, and let's call this x2, y2. Because that's what we usually do. We read left to right, so it's kind of natural. It's just, hey, that's the one with the ones. Anyway, so we plop this stuff in there. So we got y2 minus y1. So the change in the y, so we got 0 minus -3. We got to be careful with our grouping symbols here. Use those parentheses. Okay, and then we got x2 minus x1, so we got -2 minus 2. So we got 0 minus -3, so that's +3. And then we got -2 minus 2, so that's -4. So our slope is -3/4. And we're going to put a little box around there because we're going to stick that in our pocket and keep it for later. Okay, so now we are almost done with this one. So the point slope form, all we're going to do is just put this in for m. This is our slope, right? This is, I think it's from the French word to climb. That's why we use an m. Anyway, that doesn't really matter. So we're gonna plug that in there. So here's our slope, and we're gonna just choose one of these points. It doesn't really matter which one because they're both on the line, and they're both gonna make it a true statement. So we can just plop one in there. So let's put in, let's just use that guy. So we've got y minus y1 is -3, and then equal our slope. So we got -3/4, and then we've got our x minus our x1. We got to be careful. We're using the same, the same point for both of these. So we've got our x1 is our 2. So, well, we should write, y plus 3 is -3/4, x minus 2. So if our goal is to write this line in point slope form, we've done it. We could have either used this point or this point. It didn't really matter, but just pick one, and we did it. Okay, so we have that, and we want to do slope intercept form. So something we could do, and what I would encourage you to do, is to just use this one. We can just essentially solve this for y and simplify this right side, and we're going to have slope intercept form when we get done. So you absolutely can do that, and I would encourage you to do that, but let's do it a different way, because we can. So we know what the slope is, right? We already figured out the slope over here, so we can just kind of take this piece by piece. So we know what the slope is. It's -3/4 x plus b. So the only part we're missing now is this this y-intercept here. So we don't know what that is. But we do have 2 points that are on the line. And again, what that means is if I plug in this point to here, got to make it a true statement. If I plug this point into here, got to make it a true statement. So if I plug either one in, the only thing left that's unknown is going to be our y-intercept, and we can go ahead and solve for that. So let's just for variety, let's pick this point here and use that point, because over here on this one we used that point, 2, -3. So let's use -2, 0. So we're going to take this point here and plug it into here. So I'll just write plug in a point, exclamation point. So we do. Let's choose this one, and we're just going to plop that in there. So Everywhere I see x, I'm going to put a -2. Everywhere I see a y, I'm going to put a 0. So we got a 0 is -3/4. And there's going to be a -2 there. Okay, plus b. And now we have an equation with our only unknown as that b, and we can go ahead and solve for that. So let's simplify this really quick. We know that 2/4 is 1/2. The negatives are going to cancel each other, so this object here is just 3/2. And we have it, so we can subtract 3/2 from both sides. And there is our y-intercept. And now we are finished. So it would absolutely be in your best interest to check this and make sure you did it right. One way we could do that would be to, well, we could take this and multiply this all out and see if we get the same thing. Or we could take this line and plug in our other point that we didn't use. So if I plugged in that other point, 2, -3, into here, it better make it a true statement. Otherwise we screwed something up, and back to the drawing board, right? But anyway, I'll leave that to you. Go ahead and verify we did it right.